I don't like my sister very much. Oldest, 26F, my younger sister, 21F, was born in the States. My parents and I immigrated here when I was 3. I was very lonely as a kid due to being isolated after heading home from elementary school. It took a while to get adjusted to her, but I felt stress and eagerness to want to play with her. Later on in our youth, having cable TV kept us occupied until college TBH. She never wants to talk in our language, where I make an effort to only speak our language at home. She will yell how much she would never go to our country and how she hates our culture's music. When my parents would do anything to visit home given their status, I would correct a few words she made up and she would not learn from it. We share a small studio. Sometimes I fear she's a little more messy than I am. During my time in high school, I didn't do field trips and prom to avoid my parents spending on me, and how my dad would get mad that I asked for XYZ when I did not deserve it. But I would tell him, when my grades are good you don't cheer me on, so I get good grades. Dumb kid logic, I know, and lacks so quiet study time. During that time I realized how dysfunctional my family is. Never any progress, never any improvement. They don't eat food outside of their culture aside from American burgers and pizza, acting like they're above it. My sister is such a picky eater. I am not. This makes me sad, because she's getting too old for this type of behavior, missing out on life and culture. I was a very rebellious kid, learning about fun cafes to visit in the city or concerts to want to go. I try to be as easygoing and neutral at home now, but now I'm stepping on eggshells with my family. While I was a teen, my sister and I had even less in common. She never wanted to listen to the music I liked. She only cares about anime, but gets upset when she's acknowledged as someone obsessed with dolls and anime. My sister acts very childish, yawning and moaning instead of answering something she is not interested in, yelling stop when something doesn't go her way. Basically, you asked her a serious question. She acts similar to how girls act in slice-of-life animes. She's also a huge homebody. I was very obsessed with music and bands, but it got to be too expensive to keep up with that lifestyle after my parents disapproved of it. During COVID, things felt really nerve-wracking. She got my parents to buy her a large and expensive senior package, only to never wear the shirts and other inclusions. Still tucked away in the closet. She can be very wasteful. A senior package I felt undeserving of asking my parents for. Growing up, my dad always told me I never deserved anything, which made it hard to spend things during my first job, or doing treat-yourself type of things. I do feel really bad she lost a lot of possible memories during COVID, but she never wanted to take the senior portrait or put on makeup for that one graduation photo. She got a work-from-home internship / part-time right away. When I was her age at 18, it took me a whole year to find my first shitty retail job. Even my dad refused to help me because I cannot handle his work. My sister also picks up hoarding tendencies after my parents. During this time, she would have shopping sprees. It used to be 1 to 3 packages a week to once a week now. She'll keep the toys in the box and the manuals or thank you cards tucked away in a bookshelf she claimed 80% of. A bookshelf I begged and begged my parents to get until a neighbor threw one away for us to rescue. Because I was trying to find solutions to our problems, but my parents never want to fix anything, even if it helps ourselves, like a bookshelf for our things. My sister keeps some plastic wrappers. It takes a while for her to throw out anything. My mom lets her get away with a lot. She's not like most girls. She's too sensitive. When I got my first job, my mom would yell at me to stop buying things and spending money, to a point where I would buy 1 article of clothing at a time. I did need more clothes as I was growing out of them. I bring it up to my mom sometimes, why does she get mad at me for buying things? Yet when my sister does it, my mom doesn't tell her to stop. My mom will reply with a generic, I'll start telling her, but nothing ever changes. She has a similar collection to Quentin reviews. It looks very cluttered, like very messy. Like maybe 300 dolls hanging from bottom bunk bed. The plush hammock is almost crushing her. I already told my mom I think that's what's making the bunk bed super creaky. I have huge fears of gaining weight since I am at the top bunk. Meanwhile, her legs add another doll to this plush hammock. My dad was furious when I told him I couldn't figure out my college financial aid, and this would result in me doing a gap year. My sister did a gap year, and my parents didn't bat an eye. They never once voiced their opinions on the matter. When online classes, let alone general college classes, can be quite mediocre/tolerable. That was 1 to 2 years of free credits for her transcript. She should have taken advance of. I was the first to go to college. It was really hard. When I started, my voice trembled from anxiety. My dad knew I had dark tendencies growing up. So this stress, or needing his help only for him to tell me to figure it out, was very taxing. During freshman year, my dad yelled at me so much, I couldn't talk to people without my voice cracking to cry. He kept his cool when my sister would ask him for details and numbers for her financial aid. It was rocky growing up and navigating college, since it was me going out of the gap year and into part-time schooling with a part-time job. My dad said he didn't want to see me home when he woke up. So I'd get up, not a morning person, to study, to purposely take morning classes to avoid seeing him, making me constantly on the go. I told my dad recently if he remembered yelling at me to get out of his house when he wakes up. Yet he doesn't not do the same for my siblings. Yet my sister takes no morning classes at all. She wakes up and takes her sweet time. I never see her study. I would go to the library to study from April 5th till 8 p.m. She insists on being an illustrator. I told my mom these are very tough jobs, reliant on a lot with connections and vast skill. My partner was a painter but had to leave that dream BC. He could not form the connections. She doesn't seem to think of that. What kind of job can she get if she's only taking fun community college classes? She gets free money and food from the school. During my time at the same damn school, I never qualified for anything due to my status. I had such a bad time there, even had a counselor tell me to drop the ideas of being a photographer. Since I didn't get enough financial aid, I had to keep a job, only holding me back on my college career. My sister has so much fortune and support from the school, yet she's just squandering her youth. She brings bags and bags of candy she gets from school, and it's become such a mess. She can't just redeem one bag of candy. Now my parents are asking her for candy and drinks, when as a kid she got in trouble for being en route to pre-diabetes, crying from fear. My mom had to cut out all our sugar into healthier foods. She doesn't learn. Now my family has gained weight from all these candy bags she brings. I tell my mom she should just bring tea or water or cleaning supplies, things we actually use, not candy. If she wants to redeem her school money so bad, or just not use it. I coupon, but half of these things aren't things we need, so I just donate it. I found her social media and I think she is somewhat queer. It's kind of sad she doesn't want to come out, when it's not something my family would disapprove of. They care more about other things. My parents do show her love and respect. She also has a boyfriend. I'm only annoyed that she doesn't mention him. BC, I'm always the butt of the joke for having a BF. My parents are always making racist comments about him. I'm tired of being the only one. Or my parents are always throwing him under the bus for being a normal and healthy person. I've lost friends and dates from the lack of space to host them for dinner or the lack of car. Yet every friend my sister has always seems to want to drive my sister everywhere and take her out or let her stay over at a different town for free. I have this fear on what I bring to the table for friends and have never met one who wants to travel with me. I feel like a burden to friends for asking to be dropped off at home. My sister doesn't want to work or do anything else outside of doodling. Her class year graduated last May from college, yet she's still where she was at 18. My mom always told me to set an example and I try. Yet she doesn't learn from my mistakes. My sister can very aloof, but I am too. I try to improve all my shitty qualities. I'm tired of feeling like an alien around normal people, something I am hyper-aware. But she just doesn't get it, or wants to notice. It's like she's missing maturity or common sense. To avoid getting on each other's nerves, sometimes I have to halt myself from getting ready during my days off, just so we don't get in each other's way taking or waiting for the bathroom. I have to do things at home very strategically to avoid getting on everyone's nerves. I'm not better than a noodle sometimes, getting small things or constantly throwing out things to make space, when she has never thrown anything of hers. Last year I found her report card from high school. I left it somewhere noticeable near the letters and other family documents. She never once noticed it to throw it out. 4 to 5 notebooks of just nonsense and notes from high school. I told my mom to tell her these are things from 2018/2019. Just throw out some high school notes, make the space look neater. Her school has a scanner she could scam her drawings and discard to hard copy. There are many hobbies and wishes I yearn for but cannot do to space. But she gets to do and buy everything she wants. I wouldn't mind if she turns out to be the successful child, but the way her obsessions are, I sometimes fear doesn't see the big picture. My sister seems so different from me. Absolutely nothing in common, which is upsetting. She doesn't like anything I like, and her hardcore fixations are 3 to 5 things. I used to feel bad, but this year I discovered my dad doesn't really like his older sister. And my mom never liked her sister either until she died. So this cycle passed on to us. I do want a best for her, but I feel not connection, no feelings for her. I just wish she could work a little hard to gain some success. I'm planning on moving out as soon as I can, but I don't think I'll keep much of a commitment to communicate with her.